Hey guys, Ike here from Mike'sOutdoors.com. I'm here today to do a broadhead test on the Helix from Strickland Archery. This is a two-blade cut-on contact head and is single bevel head. It has a right-hand or a left-hand bevel on it, depending on how you want to set your arrows up. This is the nice thing I like about this is the wide variety of grain weight that this is available in. This isn't available from 85 grains all the way up to 225 grains. It's a tried and true design, and for big game animals this is going to give you good penetration. For small lightweight setups this is going to give you good penetration on that as well. So I really like the wide variety of grain weights for this, because I can set it up for, you know, Cape buffalo in Africa, or I can set it up for my son to shoot whitetail with. And this is the design. Two-blade cut-on contact is what I recommend for low poundage. So I like the wide variety of it. This one has actually an 1.25 inch cutting diameter, and you can see this thing's thick. This thing is really thick, just really solid made. I've only got a couple of tests that I'm going to do with this, kind of simplify my broadhead test a little bit. I tuned it out, and it tuned just like any other broadhead. I mean, absolutely same. I had no trouble getting it to tune out. So that was one of the steps that I took, was just to see how it flew. It didn't fly like a field point, but it tuned out fine, and I got it hitting pretty close to what my field points were hitting. The other thing I'm going to do is, this single blade is designed to actually hit and rotate and create a wound channel. So, and these are extremely sharp. So I've got a set, I've just got a big bundle of bubble wrap, and this is just the bubble wrap that came from packing on one of my bows or something I ordered. And I just got a huge piece of it, so I've rolled that up, and I want to see the wound channel as it goes through that bubble wrap and see how it does and how it turns. The other thing I'm going to do is, I've got a hog shoulder from the hog I killed this spring. I pulled a couple of the shoulder bones out, and we're just going to shoot the shoulder bones and see how well it does with that. With this test we're going to be shooting a 65-pound prime rival, and I'm going to be shooting a I don't know what kind of arrow we're going to find, or probably about a 400 grain arrow is what I'm going to end up using. It's going to be a standard diameter arrow, so nothing special as far as what the arrow goes. But 27.5 inch draw weight, bow's putting out about 280 to 290 feet per second, somewhere in that range. I don't know exactly, but so we're going to try this out and see how well it performs on a couple tests we got set up here. Okay, as you can see, this is just loosely packed. It's not tied or taped up tight or anything like that, but it's just bubble wrap from something I got. I'm not even sure what it was, and a mosquito. But I'm just going to basically shoot it, and I want to see the wound channel as it comes through something soft like this. Just want to see what kind of damage it'll do to something like this, and then we're going to try it out on some bone. Okay, so here's the entry hole, and you can see the broadhead is facing just like this, and you know, got a pretty good little gash in there. The exit hole is right here somewhere too. Here we go. Right here's the exit hole. And with this, you can see, I can see that the holes do not line up. So this hole is straight up and down like this. This one is actually this way. So the blade went from being like this, and it rotated just a little bit. So it did rotate around, even going through something soft like this. And you can see the exit hole here is a lot more jagged than the entry hole. So the entry hole is nice and clean, facing straight up and down. The exit hole is facing about a quarter of the way, would have been to the left, would have been to this side of the target. So it did produce a pretty good wound channel. Here's another hole here, and should be a couple more in there, but anyway, yeah, there's another hole right there. So all the way through this, it produced a pretty consistent right-hand twist. So he started up straight up and ended up going to, left-hand twist. So it ended up going to the left. So a nice consistent twist to it, and that ought to produce a really good wound channel in an animal. Several nice big gashes in here and big holes. And I think, you know, just by going through something this soft, it shows, and that's what I wanted to show with this test, was that the broadhead, I wanted to see if the broadhead was actually going to go through and actually twist like it said it was going to. And here's another, there's several pieces of it, so it went through a bunch of different layers and did a pretty good job as far as producing a good wound channel. So now let's get the bone out and let's see what it'll do to some bone. Okay, so here's the section of bone that we're going to use, and you can see fairly thin bone. I've got another bone that we're going to try out depending on how well it done on this, but this is the back side of the plate from the hog that I killed this year. This has been processed, and you can see it's been cut through here, but what we're going to try to do is get right here into this part right here where we've got a bone and we've got a cross right there. So I'm going to set this up like this, and we're going to try to get through here. The other bone that I have actually comes down this way, and it's actually a femur or some, I don't know what. It's basically like the front leg of the hog is what it is, and this is the plate, and that's going to be the thicker part. So we're going to put this up here, see what kind of damage it does to this, and then we'll try it out on that thicker bone in a minute. Okay, so I hit it just a little bit right of where I wanted to do, but keep in mind I'm shooting from 20 yards, so I thought that was a pretty good shot actually. And the damage it done to this bone's pretty good. You can see that's how much penetration we got in there. I pulled it out just a touch, but and into a big green target behind me, which is my broadhead target. So you can see that is ample penetration into a hog, and like I said, went through the plate here. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this and show you a little bit better. The head is perfect. I mean, that head, not even the tip of it, is absolutely perfect. That bone is, you can see there, it split the bone from the top all the way down in the back. I can see a crack all the way in there, and you can see what kind of damage it did to that bone. So very impressive penetration on that bone. Cracked it all the way down to here, and I mean, it got really good penetration on that. So let's try the other bone, which is actually a little bit smaller, and see if I can hit it. And like I said, my broadhead tests are performed from 20 yards because I don't believe in giving a broadhead the advantage of trying it from 10 yards, because it's got a lot more momentum and kinetic energy behind it at 10 than it does at 20. Most of my shots in the wild are at 20, so I test all my broadhead tests at 20 yards. So let's grab this other bone, let's try it out. Okay, this is the other bone from that same hog, and I'm going to try to hit it up here. Again, from 20 yards, I'm shooting at something, you know, that big around. I may or may not be able to hit it, but hopefully I can hit it. I'd like to hit it dead center and through that big knuckle right there, that big joint, and see what kind of damage it'll do to that. Okay, so I want you to keep in mind, this is an old bone. This has been around since spring, and I'm sorry for the light. The sun is hitting right into my shop, and it is really bright in here right now. I'm facing right into the sun. But you can see this was the top knuckle of this bone, basically like this. Like this is how this thing was, or something like that. I don't even know how it was. But anyway, this hit right there in the thick part of this bone and just absolutely destroyed it. And then it went on to penetrate about 6 inches into the target, and this thing just feels gross. We'll put that down. But head is still in really good shape. Got a little bit of curling right here on this bevel, on this blade. A little bit right here. Sharpness goes. Yeah, you know, it's definitely lost some sharpness. But still, I don't know if you guys can see it or not on there, but it's still shaven hair. There's still just a little bit of hair right up there that it's shaving off. So been through a bone, been through a couple of bones, and still done a pretty good job. I'm going to go ahead and get out of this sun and wrap this thing up. Alright, so that's the Helix, and pretty impressive head. Did a lot of damage to that bone. Held up really well. I mean, this thing, put a new edge on it, and it looks like brand new. So that thing is really tough. It did what it was advertised to do as far as the wound channel. It went in, and it did spin. So very impressed with that. This is a thick, tough, nasty head. I really, really like it. And I want to thank the guys. This is from Strickland Archery, but the guys who actually sent this to me were from Worldwide Broadside Outdoors. So we're going to put a link below to their YouTube page, and you can check them out. A couple really good guys, just kind of getting started on YouTube, and were nice enough to send me this and a Worldwide Broadside shirt, which, sorry guys, it's in the laundry because I've been wearing it a lot. So nice enough to send me this broadhead to test out, send me a shirt, so I really appreciate that from those guys. And like I said, I'll put a link below to their website or their YouTube page, and I'll also put a link to the Strickland Archery head. And this is a Helix, and I mean, this thing is tough, and I really, really like it. Held up fantastic to the tests that I put it through. So if you're thinking about a 2-blade cut-on contact head, this is definitely one to give some consideration. Also, like I said, it goes for 85 grain all the way up to 225 grain, and I definitely recommend a 2-blade cut-on contact head like this one for lighter weight arrows. For like my son, my wife, this will get you the penetration and do the damage that you need, and you don't have to worry about having kinetic energy or an expandable head trying to open up. So this is really good for low poundage situations. It gives you a lot more penetration. It's also going to be really good for those guys that are wanting to go to Africa or shoot big game animals like an elk or a Cape buffalo. If you want to set up an arrow that weighs, you know, 700 to 1,000 grains, they've got that option for you as well. So definitely check this out. One of the toughest broadheads I've ever tested, the Helix by Strickland, and just a fantastic little fantastic little broadhead. Actually held up better than my arrow did in the test, which held up pretty good considering what I was shooting it through. So check this out. Check out the links below, and for more product reviews, how-to videos, be sure to check us out at ikesoutdoors.com. Appreciate you guys watching.